Force yourself. Do hard things. The version of you that you most want to be is locked behind something difficult, and the comfortable version of you has been negotiating with that difficulty for years instead of walking through it. Not locked in the dramatic sense, not behind some impenetrable barrier that requires extraordinary gifts or extraordinary circumstances or extraordinary luck to breach. Behind something much simpler and much more devastating. The daily, completely ordinary, entirely manageable choice between the comfortable option that is always available and the harder option that is always more valuable and almost always less chosen. The choice happens 100 times a day. Before most people are even fully awake, it has already been made several times. The alarm that was set for a reason and the warmth of the bed that makes the reason feel negotiable. The resolution made last night, and the specific, completely understandable quality of this morning that makes the resolution feel like something that can begin tomorrow instead. The commitment to the difficult work and the available, genuinely pleasurable, completely reasonable alternative that makes the difficult work feel like something the day can accommodate later, after the easier things, after the more comfortable things, after the things that do not ask for what the difficult work is asking for. And the negotiation, the specific, daily, completely sophisticated negotiation between the ambitious self and the comfortable self, almost always produces the same outcome. The comfortable option wins. Not dramatically, not with the announcement of defeat. The comfortable option wins the way water wins against stone. Not in any single encounter, but in the accumulated, continuous, completely patient quality of a process that produces something in the character over time that is genuinely different from what the harder choice would have produced. What the comfortable option produces, accumulated over years of the daily negotiation won by the comfortable side, is a person who is significantly smaller than they were capable of being. Not obviously, not visibly, not in any single identifiable moment where the diminishment is undeniable, but in the specific, accumulated, completely real quality of the gap between who they actually are and who they were genuinely capable of becoming, if the 100 daily negotiations had more consistently, more honestly, more genuinely been won by the harder choice. The Stoics were explicit about this, not in the harsh, demanding, willpower-obsessed way that the modern conversation about self-discipline tends to take. In the philosophical, deeply honest, genuinely caring way of people who had examined what the comfortable life actually produces and had found, in the honest, specific, completely real examination of the actual evidence, that the comfortable life is not the good life. That ease, pursued as the organizing principle of daily choices, produces something in the character that is not the good life, but is the specific, comfortable, quietly dissatisfying shadow of it. Today, on the Stoic Mindset, we are going into the complete architecture of forcing yourself to do hard things. Not as the celebration of suffering for its own sake. Not as the Spartan glorification of hardship without examination. As the specific, philosophical, completely practical, genuinely applicable understanding of why the hard thing is almost always the more valuable thing. How the doing of the hard thing builds what nothing else builds. And what the daily, unglamorous, completely available practice of forcing yourself through the hard things actually produces in a life genuinely committed to the examined excellence. This is the lesson that builds the person who was always possible. There was a Greek physician named Hippocrates of Kos, not the historical Hippocrates whose name the medical oath bears, but a lesser-known student of his lineage who practiced in the generation following the famous physician's death, who became in his time one of the most respected practitioners in the ancient world. Not because of his natural gifts, which were adequate but not extraordinary. Not because of his initial training, which was good but not exceptional. Because of something far rarer and far more specifically consequential. The specific quality of what he forced himself to do when every reasonable argument available was pointing toward the more comfortable alternative. He had been trained in the conventional medical knowledge of his era and had established a successful practice in his home city. By every reasonable external measure, his career was going well. His patients were being treated, his reputation was respectable, his income was sufficient, his professional standing in his community was secure. And his understanding was stagnating. Not visibly, not in a way that his patients could identify or that his colleagues would have named.
in the specific, quiet, completely interior way that the genuinely rigorous mind recognizes when it is honest with itself. The way that the person who knows what genuine excellence requires feels the gap between what they are currently producing and what the genuine excellence would require. He knew that the genuine advancement of the medical knowledge he was committed to required the specific, physically and emotionally demanding, genuinely uncomfortable work of direct anatomical study. The specific practice that his era's medical culture had not fully normalized, and that required the specific quality of forcing himself through the genuine discomfort of the difficult in the service of the genuinely important understanding it would produce. He did it. Not once, systematically across years of genuine, unglamorous, completely real work in the conditions that the conditions of his era provided. He forced himself through the discomfort, through the specific, genuine, completely real difficulty of the work that the comfortable alternative to the work was consistently available to prevent. And what the forcing himself produced across years of the genuinely difficult work was the specific, deep, completely real understanding of the actual human body that the conventional medical knowledge of his era had not yet produced. The understanding that made him, eventually and not immediately, the physician whose patients survived things that patients of other physicians consistently did not survive. The physician whose specific understanding of what was actually happening in the body, built from the specific, difficult, unglamorous work that no comfortable alternative would have produced, made him genuinely, specifically, completely irreplaceably excellent.
His students asked him once, with the genuine curiosity of people who could see the excellence and were trying to understand its source, how he had built what he had built. He said, "I forced myself to do what I did not want to do every day, until what I did not want to do became the most important thing I was doing. And then it was no longer the thing I was forcing myself to do. It was the work every day, until the thing he was forcing became the work itself." That is the architecture of everything we are building today. The first thing to understand completely, at the most foundational level, is what happens to the character when the hard thing is consistently chosen over the comfortable alternative. Because this is the foundational understanding that makes the forcing worth the forcing. The character is not a fixed thing. This is the philosophical claim that the entire Stoic tradition rests on, and that the modern psychology of character development has comprehensively confirmed. The character is a dynamic, continuously shaped, perpetually available for development or deterioration, product of the accumulated choices that constitute the actual daily life. Not the dramatic choices, not the extraordinary moments where the stakes are obviously high and the difficulty is obviously significant. The ordinary, daily, completely unremarkable choices. The choice of the comfortable option or the harder one in the 100,000, 10,000 ordinary moments that constitute the actual texture of the actual life. And the specific, consistent, accumulated effect of consistently choosing the comfortable option is the gradual but genuinely real production of a character that is organized around comfort, that expects the comfortable, that experiences the absent comfort as a genuine threat, that has been progressively, invisibly, completely really shaped by the accumulated preference for ease into something that is genuinely less capable of the hard thing than it was before the years of consistently choosing the comfortable alternative. This is the specific, terrible, completely avoidable consequence of the comfortable life. Not that the comfortable moments themselves are damaging, they are not. Genuine rest, genuine ease, genuine comfort in the appropriate moments is one of the genuine goods of a genuinely human life. But the consistent, daily, organized around preference for the comfortable as the governing principle of the daily choices produces a character that is progressively less capable of the hard thing, that finds the hard thing harder, that the hard thing costs more from because the practice of the hard thing has been consistently, daily, completely quietly being abandoned in the ordinary moments where the comfortable alternative was available. The specific, consistent, accumulated effect of consistently choosing the harder option, not always, not in the harsh, joy-refusing way of the person who has confused the elimination of comfort with the development of character.
is the gradual but genuinely real production of a character that is genuinely more capable, that has been shaped by the accumulated practice of the hard thing in the ordinary moments into something that genuinely can. The hard thing builds, the comfortable thing maintains.
And the difference between the built and the maintained character, assessed not in any single moment but across the full arc of the actual life, is the specific, genuine, completely real difference between the person who was genuinely possible and the person who was genuinely comfortable. The first pillar of forcing yourself to do hard things is the practice of the morning forcing, the specific, daily, non-negotiable practice of beginning the day with the thing that the comfortable alternative is most consistently available to prevent. The morning is the most important time for the forcing practice. Not because the morning has some magical property that the afternoon lacks, because the morning is the specific, daily, completely recurring moment in which the character that has been built by all the previous mornings meets the choice, the same choice, made available again, fresh, with the same comfortable alternative and the same harder option, that all the previous mornings have also contained. And the morning choice, made consistently over days and weeks and months and years, accumulates into something that is not visible in any individual morning, but is completely visible in the full arc of the life. The person who has consistently, daily, made the harder morning choice is not the same person as the person who has consistently, daily, made the comfortable morning choice. Not because any single morning choice is itself transformative, because the accumulated pattern of thousands of morning choices has produced two genuinely different characters. The Stoics began each morning with what they called the morning meditation, the specific, deliberate, completely intentional quality of the preparation that established the genuine direction of the day before the external world had made its claims. Not the meditation in the passive, comfortable sense that the word sometimes implies. The specific, active, genuinely demanding quality of the person who is preparing to face the day with the full, genuine, completely real quality of the examined values rather than with the default quality of whatever the mood of the morning happens to produce. Marcus Aurelius began each morning by forcing himself through the specific, recurrent, completely familiar reluctance that the morning consistently produced. The specific, genuine, completely honest reluctance that he records in the Meditations, where he notes the morning pull of the warm bed and the reasonable argument that a little more rest would be productive, and the specific, genuine acknowledgement that the forcing was real and that the forcing was necessary and that the forcing was, every morning, the first and the most important choice of the day. Force yourself in the morning, with the specific, honest, non-dramatic quality of the person who knows that the morning choice is the most important choice of the day and who makes it, specifically, completely, without the sophisticated negotiation that the comfortable alternative always generates, in the direction of the genuine values, rather than the direction of the comfortable preference. The second pillar is the practice of the voluntary hardship. The specific, Stoic-grounded, genuinely transformative practice of deliberately, regularly encountering difficulty before it is imposed in the controlled, chosen, completely intentional conditions that make it the training rather than the crisis. Seneca was the most specific and the most practically instructive of the Stoics on this practice. He described his own voluntary hardship practices in detail. The periods of deliberate fasting that trained the capacity to function without the expected comfort of food. The periods of deliberately simple conditions that trained the specific, genuine, completely real knowledge that the comfortable circumstances were not the prerequisites for the genuine capacity. The deliberate encounters with physical and social difficulty that built the specific, embodied, completely reliable understanding that the things the comfortable life had been treating as prerequisites were in fact optional. The voluntary hardship practice does something specific to the character that no amount of comfortable preparation can do. It produces the specific, embodied, completely reliable knowledge, not the theoretical knowledge, the genuine, lived, completely real knowledge that difficulty is endurable, that discomfort does not destroy, that the feared thing, genuinely faced in the controlled, chosen, training conditions, is genuinely survivable. And more than survivable, genuinely manageable by the specific person who has forced themselves through it in the training conditions.
This knowledge, specific, embodied, completely non-theoretical, changes the relationship with the involuntary difficulty when the involuntary difficulty arrives, because it always arrives. The crisis that was not planned for, the difficulty that the comfortable life did not prepare for, the specific, genuine, completely real hardship of the life that is genuinely ambitious enough to regularly reach the edges of the current capacity. The person who has done the voluntary hardship practice arrives at the involuntary difficulty with something the unprepared person does not have. Not the comfortable certainty that everything will be fine. The specific, embodied, completely genuine knowledge that they have been in difficulty before, that the difficulty was endurable, that they came through it, that they are the person who comes through difficult things because they have been deliberately, voluntarily, regularly forcing themselves through difficult things in the training conditions. Practice voluntary hardship daily in the small, specific, available forms that the ordinary day consistently provides. The workout that goes slightly further than comfortable. The fast that encounters the genuine experience of hunger. The difficult conversation that is had rather than avoided. The genuinely cold shower rather than the consistently warm one. The early morning rather than the comfortable extra hour. Each of these, small, specific, available daily, builds what the comfortable alternative cannot build. The specific, genuine, completely reliable knowledge that the person forcing themselves through the difficult things is the person who can. The third pillar is the practice of the uncomfortable beginning, the specific, Stoic grounded understanding that the hardest part of almost every genuinely hard thing is not the doing of it, but the beginning of it, and that the forcing that matters most is almost always the forcing of the start. The beginning resistance is real.
The specific, genuine, completely physiological quality of the resistance to the beginning of the genuinely hard thing is not the character flaw of the weak person. It is the normal, predictable, completely understandable response of the nervous system to the anticipated difficulty of the genuinely difficult task. The prefrontal cortex generates the specific, accurate assessment that the hard thing will be hard. The limbic system generates the specific, automatic, completely physiological preference for the comfortable alternative. And the combination, the accurate assessment of difficulty plus the physiological preference for comfort, produces the specific, powerful, consistently present resistance to the beginning that almost everyone who is doing genuinely hard things consistently encounters. The Stoic understanding of this resistance is both honest and practical. Honest in the acknowledgement that the resistance is real and that the forcing required to overcome it is genuine. Practical in the specific, empirically confirmed observation that the resistance almost always reduces significantly once the beginning has been made. That the genuinely hard thing, once actually begun, is almost always genuinely less difficult than the resistance to the beginning was suggesting it would be. This is the specific, most immediately applicable, and most consistently underestimated practical insight available for the person who is forcing themselves to do hard things. The resistance is almost always worst before the beginning. The specific, uncomfortable, genuinely real quality of the beginning resistance is not accurate information about the difficulty of the hard thing itself. It is the nervous system's preemptive response to the anticipated difficulty, calibrated to the worst case rather than to the actual case. Force the beginning. Specifically, without the sophisticated negotiation that the beginning resistance consistently generates, and discover, as every person who regularly forces themselves to begin the genuinely hard things discovers, the beginning is almost always the hardest part. And once the beginning is made, the forcing that was required is no longer required. The momentum of the genuine engagement with the genuine work takes over from the forcing that the beginning required. The fourth pillar is the practice of the identity commitment, the specific, Stoic-grounded, genuinely transformative shift from the behavioral aspiration to the identity expression as the governing principle of the hard things practice. The behavioral aspiration is, I'm trying to do hard things. The identity expression is, I am someone who does hard things. These look similar in their description and function completely differently in the actual moments of the actual choice between the comfortable option and the harder one. The behavioral aspiration produces the daily, fresh, motivation-dependent decision. The decision that the current level of motivation and the current quality of the conditions and the current balance between the desire for the outcome and the preference for the comfort will determine. and the motivation is not always present. The conditions are not always favorable, and the balance between the outcome desire and the comfort preference does not always resolve in the direction of the outcome. The identity expression produces the daily, non-negotiable, motivation-independent expression of who the person has genuinely decided they are. Not a decision about what to do today, an expression of who they are, which is not contingent on today's mood or today's conditions or today's particular balance between the desire for the outcome and the preference for the comfort. It is who they are, and who they are is expressed in what they do, every day, regardless of how they feel about the doing on this particular day. Epictetus built his entire pedagogy around this specific foundational distinction. He was not interested in producing students who aspired to live philosophically. He was interested in producing students who were philosophers, whose philosophical practice was the expression of who they were, rather than the product of the currently available motivation. And the forcing of the hard thing in this framework is not the forcing of an aspirational behavior against the resistance of the current preference. It is the expression of the genuine identity against the resistance of the current mood. Build the identity, specifically, genuinely, with the complete non-dramatic quality of the genuine decision, rather than the aspirational announcement. I am someone who does hard things. I am someone who forces themselves through the beginning resistance. I am someone who maintains the commitment in the conditions that the commitment finds most difficult. And then live from the identity, not from the aspiration, from the specific, genuine, completely real identity of the person who is that person, in the moments when being that person is easy, and in the moments when being that person is genuinely, completely, really hard. The fifth pillar is the practice of the 18-minute rule, the specific, practically transformative understanding that the most powerful available commitment for forcing yourself through the hard thing is not the commitment to complete the hard thing, but the commitment to begin it and continue it for a specific, brief, completely achievable period. The commitment to complete the hard thing is the commitment that most consistently produces the beginning resistance that most consistently prevents the beginning. Because the commitment to complete the genuinely hard thing includes, in the scope of the commitment, the full weight of everything the completion requires. All the difficulty, all the sustained effort, all the specific accumulated discomfort of the complete engagement with the genuinely hard work. And the nervous system, processing the scope of the full commitment, generates the specific, powerful, completely proportionate resistance to the full commitment. The commitment to the 18 minutes, or 25 minutes, or whatever the specific, brief, completely achievable period the particular practice requires, includes in the scope of the commitment only the brief period. And the resistance to the brief period is consistently, significantly, genuinely less than the resistance to the full commitment. This is not a trick. It is the genuine, honest, practically applicable understanding of how the beginning resistance and the engagement momentum actually work in the real practice of the genuinely hard things. The brief, achievable commitment reduces the resistance enough to make the beginning genuinely achievable. And the beginning, once made, almost always produces the specific, genuine, completely real quality of engaged momentum that carries the practice significantly further than the brief commitment required. Seneca described the practical application of this principle in his own work. The beginning of the writing session, which he described as the most consistently difficult part of the work, was managed through the specific, deliberate commitment to the beginning, rather than the commitment to the completion. And the beginning, once made, produced the specific, genuine, completely real quality of engaged momentum that carries the practice significantly further than the brief commitment required. Apply the brief commitment to whatever the hard thing requires the beginning of. Force yourself through the brief commitment and discover that the brief commitment almost always produces the beginning, and the beginning almost always produces the momentum, and the momentum almost always produces more than the brief commitment required. The sixth pillar is the practice of progressive overload applied to the hard things practice.
The specific, genuine, completely real understanding that the capacity for the genuinely hard thing is built not through the immediate confrontation with the maximum difficulty, but through the systematic, patient, daily practiced expansion of what the current capacity can genuinely handle. The person who forces themselves to do the maximum difficulty immediately, before the capacity for the maximum difficulty has been genuinely built, is not doing the hard things practice. They are doing the injury practice. They are producing the specific, genuine, avoidable damage of the system that has been pushed beyond what the current capacity can genuinely accommodate. And the damage, physical, psychological, characterological, is not what the hard things practice is building. The damage is the opposite of what the hard things practice is building. The genuine hard things practice is the systematic, patient, daily practiced expansion of what the current capacity can genuinely handle, not the maximum difficulty. The difficulty that is genuinely beyond the current comfortable level, but genuinely within the genuine current capacity. The difficulty that challenges without destroying, that develops without damaging, that builds the next level of capacity by genuinely engaging the current level of capacity in a way that the current capacity can genuinely survive. This is the Stoic understanding of the voluntary hardship practice, the specific, practical, completely honest understanding of how the capacity for the genuinely difficult thing is actually built, not through the immediate confrontation with what the capacity is not yet ready for, through the daily, systematic, patient expansion of what the capacity genuinely is in the specific, controlled, completely intentional conditions of the training practice that builds what no comfortable alternative can build. Practice progressive overload. In the physical training, the specific, daily, systematic expansion of what the body can genuinely handle. In the cognitive training, the specific, daily, systematic engagement with the ideas and the problems that are genuinely beyond the current comfortable level, but genuinely within the genuine current capacity. In the character training, the specific, daily, systematic practice of the virtues in the conditions that are genuinely more challenging than the current comfortable level, but genuinely within the genuine current capacity. Build systematically, not immediately to the maximum, to the next level, and then the next, and then the next, and let the systematic, daily, patient expansion of the genuine capacity produce, over the genuine time it takes, the genuine excellence that the systematic expansion of the genuine capacity consistently produces. The seventh pillar is the practice of the reward architecture, the specific, Stoic-grounded, practically transformative practice of organizing the relationship between the hard thing and the genuine reward in ways that reinforce the genuine identity of the person who does hard things. Most people have it backwards. They use the comfortable thing as the reward for the hard thing, the entertainment after the difficult work, the indulgence after the demanding practice, the specific, comfortable alternative as the compensation for having engaged with the genuinely uncomfortable thing. This architecture, comfortable thing as reward for hard thing, is not wrong in the simple sense. It is a form of reinforcement. It does produce behavior, but it produces a specific, problematic quality of behavior. The behavior that is organized around the attainment of the comfortable reward through the endurance of the hard thing. The behavior of the person who is doing the hard thing primarily to get to the comfortable thing. And the person who is doing the hard thing primarily to get to the comfortable thing is organizing the hard thing as the ordeal and the comfortable thing as the destination, which means the hard thing is the path to the comfortable thing. And the path to the comfortable thing is not, in the most honest Stoic-grounded assessment, the path to the excellent thing. The Stoic reward architecture is different. The reward for the hard thing is the capacity that the hard thing builds. The specific, genuine, completely real increase in the actual capacity for the hard thing, the improved quality of the practice, the increased depth of the understanding, the specific, genuine, completely real expansion of what the character can genuinely handle. This is the reward, not the comfortable thing, the genuine development. This architecture is not the rejection of the comfortable reward as a tool. Sometimes the comfortable thing as the reward for the hard thing is a genuinely useful tool for building the initial pattern. But the genuine identity of the person who does hard things is not built on the comfortable reward architecture. It is built on the specific, genuine, completely real recognition that the capacity built by the hard thing is the reward for the hard thing. That the excellence produced by the genuine practice is the destination rather than the path to the comfortable destination. Reorganize the reward architecture. In the specific, daily, completely real practice of doing the hard thing for what the hard thing genuinely produces, the capacity, the development, the specific, genuine, completely real excellence, rather than for the comfortable alternative that the endurance of the hard thing makes available.
This is the specific, honest, Stoic grounded truth about the comfortable option that the comfortable feeling consistently obscures. The comfortable option has a cost, not the cost that the comfort reveals. The comfort is specific and pleasant and immediately real. The cost that the comfort conceals, the specific, genuine, completely real cost of what was not built in the moment of the comfortable choice. The capacity that was not developed, the understanding that was not deepened, the character that was not strengthened, the genuine excellence that was not produced. This cost is invisible in any single moment. The single comfortable choice, the one morning that the alarm was snoozed, the one session that was skipped, the one hard conversation that was avoided, produces no visible, identifiable cost in the moment of the choosing. The cost is distributed across time, accumulated invisibly, experienced not as the consequence of any single comfortable choice, but as the specific, low-grade, never quite resolved quality of the person who has been choosing comfort over the hard thing, often enough that the accumulated preference has shaped the character into something genuinely less capable than the alternative practice would have produced. The honest accounting practice brings this invisible cost into visibility, not as the harsh, shaming, self-punishing review of every comfortable choice, as the genuine, forward-looking, completely non-defensive accounting of what the pattern of comfortable choices is actually producing in the life over the actual time that the pattern has been running. Seneca conducted this accounting regularly, not as the self-punishment of the person who is cataloging their failures, as the specific, practical, completely forward-looking assessment of the philosopher who is genuinely interested in whether the daily choices are producing the genuine life. And the assessment, conducted honestly over the full arc of the pattern, rather than in the immediate quality of the individual comfortable choice, consistently produced the specific, clear, completely actionable information about where the forcing of the hard thing was most needed and where the comfortable alternative had been most expensive. Conduct the honest accounting regularly, with the genuine, non-defensive, completely forward-looking quality of someone who is genuinely interested in what the pattern is actually producing. And let the honest accounting produce the specific, practical, completely actionable information about where the forcing of the hard thing is most urgently needed and what the genuine cost of the comfortable alternative has actually been. The ninth pillar is the practice of the community of forcing, the specific Stoic-grounded, genuinely powerful practice of building and maintaining the specific social environment in which the forcing of the hard thing is the norm rather than the exceptional. The social environment is one of the most consistently underestimated forces available in the formation of the daily character. Not because people are simply the average of the 5 people they spend the most time with. The Stoic understanding of genuine character is too sophisticated for that reduction, but because the specific norms of the social environment, what is considered normal, what is considered admirable, what is considered excessive, shape the baseline against which the individual's choices are made, and the baseline matters.
The person who is surrounded primarily by people for whom the comfortable option is the consistent norm is operating against the specific, social, completely real headwind of the environment that considers the forcing of the hard thing as the exceptional behavior. The exceptional behavior requires exceptional motivation to maintain, and exceptional motivation is not consistently available. The person who is surrounded primarily by people for whom the forcing of the hard thing is the consistent norm is operating with the specific, social, completely real tailwind of the environment that considers the forcing normal. And the normal behavior does not require exceptional motivation to maintain. It requires only the specific, daily, ordinary quality of someone who is doing what people in their environment do. Epictetus was explicit about this. The philosophical community, the specific, genuine, completely real community of people who are all committed to the same genuine practice, is one of the most powerful available supports for the individual practice, not because the community tells the individual what to do, because the community normalizes the doing, makes the hard thing feel like the expected behavior rather than the exceptional one. Build the community of forcing. Find the people who are genuinely committed to the same genuine practice of organizing the forcing practice around the accumulation of the small, daily, completely real wins that build the genuine conviction that the person doing the forcing is the person who can. The large goal is not the most powerful motivator for the daily, ordinary, unglamorous forcing practice. The large goal is too distant from the daily forcing moment to produce the specific, immediate, genuinely motivating quality that the daily forcing moment most requires. The large goal produces the general aspiration. The small win produces the specific, immediate, genuinely motivating evidence that the person forcing themselves is the person who can force themselves. The small win is not the small thing that required no forcing. The small win is the small thing that genuinely required the forcing and that was genuinely forced. The session that was not going to happen and happened. The conversation that was not going to be had and was had. The difficult beginning that the beginning resistance was making genuinely difficult and that was begun anyway. These are the small wins. Specific, genuine, completely real evidence that the person forcing themselves is the person who can force themselves.
And the accumulation of the small wins, the specific, daily, genuinely forced small wins, is the specific, practical, completely real building of the genuine conviction that Marcus Aurelius expressed in his Meditations. The person who has forced themselves through the 1,000 genuinely forced things has the specific, embodied, completely non-theoretical knowledge that they are the person who forces themselves through the genuinely difficult things. The Meditations are, in their deepest reading, the record of the small wins accumulated across 40 years of the genuinely examined, genuinely forced daily practice. Not the dramatic victories. The daily, ordinary, completely unglamorous small wins of the person who forced the beginning when the beginning was genuinely hard, who maintained the commitment when the commitment was genuinely costly, who did the work when the work genuinely required the forcing. Accumulate the small wins, daily, in the specific, completely real quality of the genuine forcing that the genuine small win requires. And let the accumulation, the specific, growing, genuinely motivated quality of the person who has genuine evidence that they are the person who forces themselves through the genuinely difficult, produce the genuine conviction that the large, genuinely difficult forcing requires. The 11th pillar is the practice of the physical training as the foundation. The specific, Stoic grounded, completely essential understanding that the forcing of the physical hard thing is the most immediately available and the most directly relevant practice for building the character that forces itself through all the other hard things. The physical training is not primarily about the body. This is the Stoic understanding of the physical practice that Musonius Rufus articulated with the most consistent directness. The physical training is primarily about the character that the physical training builds. The specific, daily, completely real practice of forcing yourself through the physical difficulty, the workout that is genuinely hard, the endurance that genuinely asks something of the body, the physical condition that the comfortable alternative is always available to prevent, is the most immediately available practice of the genuine forcing that the character requires. Not because the physical excellence is the most important excellence available,
but because the physical training is the most consistently, most immediately, most reliably available laboratory for the daily practice of forcing yourself through the genuinely difficult. It is available every day. The difficulty is adjustable to the current genuine capacity. The forcing is immediately physically real. And the specific, genuine, completely real experience of the physical forcing, the experience of the body's preference for stopping met by the character's decision to continue, is the most directly embodied experience of the genuine forcing that is available. And the character built in the physical laboratory is genuinely, significantly, transferably related to the character available for the non-physical hard things. Not perfectly. The person who is physically excellent is not automatically excellent in every other domain, but genuinely. The specific, embodied, completely reliable knowledge of the person who forces themselves through the physical difficulty, the knowledge that the system can be pushed past the preference for stopping, that the difficult thing is endurable, that the person forcing is the person who can, transfers to the non-physical domains in the specific way that all genuine character development transfers. Train physically, daily, in the specific, genuine, completely real quality of the forcing practice rather than the comfortable maintenance of the current comfortable level, and let the physical forcing build what the physical forcing most reliably and most directly builds, the specific, embodied, completely genuine character of the person who forces themselves through the genuinely difficult things. The 12th pillar is the practice of the long view, the specific, Stoic grounded, genuinely liberating practice of assessing the hard thing from the perspective that includes the full arc of what the forcing produces rather than only the immediate quality of what the forcing costs. The immediate quality of the forcing is discomfort, real, specific, completely genuine discomfort. The discomfort of the cold shower, the discomfort of the workout past the comfortable limit, the discomfort of the difficult conversation, the discomfort of the hard work past the point where the comfortable alternative is available. This discomfort is real. The Stoics never pretended otherwise. But the full arc, the specific, genuine, completely real quality of what the discomfort of the forcing produces across the full arc of the genuine practice is not discomfort. It is the most genuinely satisfying quality available in a human life. The specific, completely genuine, deeply earned quality of the person who has built, through years of daily forcing, the character from which the forcing is no longer the forcing, but the work. Marcus Aurelius had this long view, not as a comfortable certainty that everything he was forcing himself through would produce the outcome he was hoping for, as the specific, examined, genuinely philosophical understanding that the forcing, the daily, unglamorous, completely real forcing of the examined life was the genuine life, not the preparation for it, the thing itself, the specific, daily, completely real expression of the genuine values in the genuine choices. And the expression across the full arc of the genuine practice produced the specific, complete, genuinely excellent person that the daily expression was building. Take the long view. In the specific, daily, completely available moment of the forcing, when the discomfort is genuinely present and the comfortable alternative is genuinely available and the forcing is genuinely required, take the long view. Not as the comfortable reassurance that everything will be fine, as the genuine, philosophically examined, completely honest assessment of what the daily forcing produces across the full arc of the genuine practice. The 13th and final pillar is the complete integration. The daily, living, breathing, genuinely practiced expression of the forcing practice as the specific, natural, completely genuine quality of the person who has built, through years of daily forcing, the character from which the forcing is no longer the forcing, but the work. Because here is the deepest truth about forcing yourself to do hard things that the Stoics arrived at through the genuine practice, and that Hippocrates expressed in the 2 sentences about what the daily forcing eventually produced. every day until the thing I was forcing became the work. The forcing is the beginning. The work is the end. And the specific, daily, completely real forcing, practiced consistently, accumulated genuinely, built through the 1,000 small wins and the morning choices and the progressive overload and the identity commitment and the long view, eventually produces the character from which the forcing is no longer necessary. Not because the hard things become comfortable. The hard things do not become comfortable. They become the work. The specific, natural, completely genuine expression of the character that the forcing built. The person who has forced themselves through 10,000 genuinely hard things is not the person who finds the hard thing comfortable. They are the person who finds the hard thing familiar, who knows from 10,000 encounters with the genuinely difficult that they are the person who does the genuinely difficult thing, who no longer needs the forcing because the identity that the forcing built is now the governing principle of the choice. The excellence does not arrive dramatically. It arrives quietly, in the specific, completely real quality of the person who has become what the daily forcing was building all along, who is now genuinely capable of what the forcing was making possible, who is now genuinely doing what the forcing was preparing for. Force yourself today, in the specific, unglamorous, completely available moment, in the morning choice, in the beginning resistance, in the small win that the forcing makes possible, in the honest accounting that the forcing reveals, in the physical training that the forcing requires, every day until the thing you are forcing becomes the work, and then the work is yours, completely, built from the inside out, through the daily, unglamorous, completely genuine forcing of the person who was always capable of it. Force yourself. Do hard things every day.
Subscribe to the Stoic Mindset right now, because this channel is where the complete, honest, philosophically grounded, practically applicable practice of forcing yourself through the genuinely hard things, not as the celebration of suffering, but as the specific, Stoic grounded, genuinely examined understanding of what the hard things build and why the building is worth the forcing, is developed week after week with the full depth and the full honesty and the full practical weight that the Stoic tradition always brought to the most fundamental question about what the genuinely good life actually requires. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification so that every new lesson reaches you the moment it is released. Every week on this channel, we go all the way into the ancient wisdom that produced Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus and Musonius Rufus and the full lineage of the Stoic examined life. People who force themselves through the genuinely difficult every day, in the ordinary moments, building the genuinely excellent character that the genuine forcing makes possible and that no comfortable alternative can produce. The people who find this channel and stay are the people who have understood what Hippocrates understood when he said that he forced himself every day until the thing he was forcing became the work. Who have decided that the comfortable version of themselves is not the version they want to be. Who have decided that the excellent version, genuinely possible, genuinely available, built through the specific, daily, completely real forcing of the genuinely hard things, is worth the daily, unglamorous, completely genuine forcing that the excellent version requires. Subscribe right now. Share this with someone who has been negotiating with the hard thing instead of doing it. Come back for the next lesson, because what we are doing here together is exactly what the Stoic tradition was always building, the specific, genuine, completely excellent character that the daily forcing of the genuinely hard things produces. Force yourself. Do hard things. Subscribe now.
Walk away quietly. The most powerful exit you will ever make will be the one nobody hears coming, and the one they spend years trying to understand. Not the dramatic walkout, not the declaration, the announcement, or the carefully constructed farewell that makes the statement you wanted the leaving to make. The quiet one, the specific, deliberate, philosophically grounded, enormously powerful walk away that happens without the performance, without the audience, without the explanation, without the need for anyone's acknowledgement that the leaving was warranted or impressive or even happening at all. Because the walk away that requires the audience to witness it is not quite the walk away yet. It is still, in the most honest assessment of what it actually is, a form of staying. Staying in the conversation, staying in the dynamic, staying in the relationship with the thing or the person or the situation you are supposedly leaving long enough to get the confirmation that the leaving itself was the right call. Long enough to see whether the leaving produced the impact you were hoping it would produce. Long enough for the leaving to say what you needed the leaving to say. The walk-away that is genuinely, completely, philosophically a walk-away does not need any of this. It is done. Not because the situation that prompted it was not real, not because the reasons for it were not legitimate, but because the person doing the walking away has understood something that most people spend their entire lives failing to understand. That the genuine freedom available in any situation is not the freedom that the dramatic exit produces. It is the freedom that the examined decision produces. The specific, complete, genuinely liberated quality of the person who has assessed the situation honestly, has decided what the genuine values require, and has acted on that decision, quietly, completely, without the performance that would keep them in the situation they were leaving. The Stoics were the masters of the genuine walk-away, not because they were cold or indifferent or disconnected from the genuine goods of genuine human connection. The opposite. Because they understood, with a precision that 2,500 years has not improved on, that the genuine walk-away, from the situation that no longer serves the genuine values, from the relationship that consistently requires the compromise of the genuine self, from the pattern of thinking or behavior that is producing damage while being maintained from habit rather than from genuine examination, is one of the most powerful and most caring expressions of the genuine self-respect and the genuine respect for others available. Walk away quietly, not from everything, not from the difficulty that the genuine engagement with the genuine life requires, not from the hardship that the examined values have identified as worth enduring, but from the specific things that the honest examination has revealed as genuinely not worth the cost of staying. From the things that are consuming what should not be consumed, from the things that are keeping you in the room when the genuine life is somewhere else. Today on the Stoic Mindset, we are going into the complete architecture of what it means to walk away quietly, what warrants it, what it requires, what it produces, and how the specific, Stoic-grounded daily practice of building the genuine interior quality makes the genuine, quiet walk away not just possible, but natural. There was a Roman philosopher named Gaius Trebatius Testa, not the famous legal scholar of the same era, but a lesser-known Stoic practitioner who lived during the reign of Augustus, and whose story was preserved in the philosophical correspondence of the period because it illustrated something about the Stoic understanding of the genuine walk-away that the people who preserved it found worth preserving. Trebatius had spent 23 years in a career that was, by every external measure that the Roman world used to assess a career, successful. He had risen to a position of genuine influence. He had built the professional relationships and the institutional standing that the Roman world recognized as significant. He was, in the specific, visible, externally confirming way that the ambitious life consistently produces in its most successful expressions, a man who had arrived. And he was completely, quietly, privately, genuinely miserable. Not dramatically miserable, not the visible, announced, publicly demonstrable misery of someone who is obviously in the wrong place, doing the obviously wrong thing. The quiet kind. The specific, low-grade, never quite resolved quality of someone who has been going somewhere that was not the right direction for long enough that the direction itself has become familiar, and the familiar has become comfortable, and the comfortable has become the specific, invisible, completely real prison of the person who is staying in the wrong place, not because they do not know it is the wrong place, but because the staying is so thoroughly embedded in the daily structure of the actual life that leaving has come to seem more impossible than it actually is. He had been reading the Stoics for years. The philosophical engagement was genuine, not the performance of philosophical sophistication for the social audience that found philosophical sophistication impressive, but the actual, earnest, completely real engagement of someone who is trying to understand something about his own life through the examination that the philosophy was consistently pointing him toward. And one morning, in the specific, quiet, completely undramatic quality of a morning that was outwardly indistinguishable from the thousands of mornings that had preceded it, he understood it. He left. Not that morning. Not in the dramatic, immediate, reactive quality of the insight that produces the impulsive action. He left 3 months later, quietly, without the declaration, without the constructed farewell, without the audience that the leaving could have assembled if he had wanted to perform it. He wrote a single letter to the philosopher he had been corresponding with, not to explain the leaving, to report it. 2 sentences. I have done what I should have done years ago. I am now doing what I was always supposed to be doing. A philosopher who read the account of this later wrote about it with a warm, specific, genuinely instructive quality. He said that what made Trebatius remarkable was not that he left. Many people leave many things. What made him remarkable was how he left.
Without the announcement, without the performance, without the need for anyone's confirmation that the leaving was correct, he simply assessed the situation, found it inconsistent with the genuine values, and left. In the specific, complete, genuinely unencumbered quality of someone who had done the examination and did not need the audience's verdict on the examination. He simply left. That quality, the specific, settled, genuinely unencumbered quality of the walkaway that does not need the audience or the explanation or the drama to be complete, is what we are building today. The first thing to understand completely at the most foundational level is what the genuine walkaway actually is and what separates it from its most common counterfeits. The counterfeit walkaway is the walkaway that is still, in the most honest assessment, a form of engagement with the thing being walked away from. It is the leaving that is primarily a communication, designed to produce a specific impact in the person or the situation being left, requiring the observation of the impact to feel complete. It is the silence that is a form of statement, the pointed silence, the strategic absence, the specific withdrawal that is organized around what the withdrawal will communicate rather than around what the withdrawal actually serves. The genuine walkaway is not primarily a communication, it is primarily a decision, made for the internal reasons, for the genuine values, for the genuine well-being, for the genuine alignment between what the genuine examination has identified as mattering and what the continuing engagement is actually producing, rather than for the external reasons, rather than for what the walking away will communicate or produce or demonstrate to the person or the situation being walked away from. This distinction is subtle in its description and enormous in its practical consequence. Because the walkaway that is primarily a communication requires the recipient of the communication to respond correctly for the walkaway to feel complete. The person being walked away from must understand, must recognize the legitimacy of the departure, must acknowledge in some demonstrable way that the leaving was warranted. And the walkaway that requires these things is the walkaway that is still in the relationship, still dependent on the other person, still organized around the other person's response, even as it is nominally departing from it. The genuine walkaway requires nothing from the person or the situation being walked away from. Not the acknowledgement, not the understanding, not the recognition that the departure was warranted, not the changed behavior that the departure was designed to produce. Nothing. The departure is complete in itself, in the genuine decision, in the genuine action, in the genuine alignment between the examined values and the actual behavior, rather than for the external reasons, rather than for what the walking away will communicate or produce or demonstrate to the person or the situation being walked away from. This distinction is subtle in its description and enormous in its practical consequence.
because the walkaway that is primarily a communication requires the recipient of the communication to respond correctly for the walkaway to feel complete. The person being walked away from must understand, must recognize the legitimacy of the departure, must acknowledge in some demonstrable way that the leaving was warranted. And the walkaway that requires these things is the walkaway that is still in the relationship, still dependent on the other person, still organized around the other person's response, even as it is nominally departing from it. The genuine walkaway requires nothing from the person or the situation being walked away from. Not the acknowledgement, not the understanding, not the recognition that the departure was warranted, not the changed behavior that the departure was designed to produce. Nothing. The departure is complete in itself, in the genuine decision, in the genuine action, in the genuine alignment between the examined values and the actual behavior, without any external confirmation of its completeness. Epictetus called this the ultimate freedom, the freedom of the person who has genuinely relocated the authority for their choices from the external world's response to the internal world's examination. The person who walks away and needs nothing from the walkaway except the completion of the action that the examination has identified as genuinely right.
That person is free in the specific, complete, genuinely Stoic sense of freedom that the Stoic tradition spent its entire philosophical life trying to describe and make practically available. The first pillar of walking away quietly is the practice of the genuine examination, the specific, honest, non-defensive, completely real assessment of the situation that is being considered for the walk away, conducted with the genuine quality of the examined life rather than with the reactive quality of the emotionally activated impulse. Most walkaways, the reactive ones, the dramatic ones, the ones that are driven by the immediate, emotional, completely understandable response to the specific, painful, genuinely difficult features of the situation, are decided in the heat of the moment that produced the decision. They are the product of the anger, the hurt, the frustration, the specific, painful, completely real experience of the situation at its most difficult, and they are therefore the product of the specific, partial, emotionally amplified picture that the difficult moment consistently produces, rather than the full, honest, completely examined picture that the genuine decision requires. The genuine examination is conducted in the quiet, in the space after the heat has passed and the emotional amplification has subsided and the full, honest, genuinely complete picture of the situation is accessible. Not immediately, not in the height of the difficult moment, in the specific, patient, deliberately maintained space that the examined life creates between the impulse and the decision. And the genuine examination asks different questions than the reactive decision asks. Not, is this situation painful? It may be, and pain is not the criterion for the genuine walkaway. Not, is this person difficult? They may be, and difficulty is not the criterion. Not, am I angry or frustrated or hurt? I may be, and these emotions are not the criterion. The genuine examination asks, is the continuing engagement with this situation genuinely serving the genuine values that the examined life has identified as most worth serving? Is the cost of the continuing engagement producing something worth the cost? Is there a genuine possibility of genuine improvement that the genuine engagement would produce? Or is the situation one in which the honest, complete, fully examined assessment reveals that the continuing engagement is maintaining something that is genuinely not worth maintaining? These questions, asked honestly, in the quiet, with the specific non-defensive quality of someone who is genuinely interested in the accurate picture rather than in the comfortable confirmation of what the emotional state is currently claiming, produce the genuine assessment. And the genuine assessment, honestly arrived at, produces the specific, settled, completely genuine conviction from which the quiet walk-away is the natural expression. Trebatius had conducted this examination for months. Not impulsively, genuinely, with the specific, patient, completely honest quality of someone who was genuinely trying to understand whether the situation was worth the continuing engagement rather than whether the situation could be made to feel better. And the honest examination, conducted with genuine, sustained, completely non-defensive quality, had eventually produced the specific, settled,
completely genuine conviction, from which the quiet walk away was not a dramatic decision, but a natural completion.
The second pillar is the practice of genuine honesty about what the staying is actually costing. The specific, non-defensive, completely real assessment of what the continuing engagement with the situation is consuming that should not be consumed. Most people who should walk away do not walk away because they have not conducted this assessment honestly. They know at some level that the situation is costing them. They feel the specific low-grade, never quite resolved quality of the depletion that the wrong engagement consistently produces. But they have not named the cost specifically, honestly, with the complete non-defensive quality that the naming requires. And the unnamed cost is the cost that the comfortable story can most easily manage, can most easily explain as the acceptable price of something genuinely worth having, rather than the unacceptable price of something that should have been left already. The honest naming of the cost is the specific, courageous, completely non-defensive practice of looking at what the continuing engagement is actually consuming and calling it what it actually is. The mental and emotional resource that should be going to the genuine work and the genuine relationships and the genuine development is going to the management of the situation. The specific, daily, completely real quantity of the finite energy and the finite time and the finite attention is going to the maintenance of something that the genuine examination has found not worth maintaining, but that has not yet been explicitly identified as not worth maintaining, because the explicit identification would require the explicit decision, and the explicit decision would require the explicit action, and the explicit action is the specific, difficult, genuinely demanding thing that the continuing engagement with the wrong situation is exactly preventing. The cost of the staying is not only the specific, obvious things that the staying takes, it is the specific, less obvious things that the staying prevents. The genuine work that the energy consumed by the management of the wrong engagement is not producing. The genuine relationships that the attention given to the maintenance of the wrong engagement is not giving. The genuine development that the time spent in the wrong room is not building. The genuine life that the genuine examination has identified as most worth living, that the continuing engagement with the wrong situation is consistently, daily, invisibly preventing. Name the cost honestly, both dimensions of it, what the staying is taking and what the staying is preventing, and let the honest naming produce the specific, clear, completely genuine picture of what the continuing engagement is actually costing. Because the honest picture of the actual cost is the most powerful available motivation for the genuine, quiet walk-away that the examination has identified as genuinely required. The third pillar is the practice of building the inner authority for the decision. The specific, daily, Stoic-grounded practice of developing the genuine conviction that the examined assessment, not the external confirmation, not the audience's verdict, not the other person's acknowledgement that the leaving was warranted, is the sufficient authority for the genuine decision. The walkaway that requires external authority is the walkaway that is not yet genuinely decided. It is the walkaway that is waiting for the right moment, for the other person to do the specific thing that would make the leaving feel finally justified, for the circumstances to arrange themselves into the configuration that the watching self requires before the decision is confirmed as genuinely correct. The walkaway with genuine inner authority does not wait, not because the circumstances are never relevant, they sometimes are, but because the genuine authority for the decision is located in the genuine examination rather than in the external confirmation. And the genuine examination, honestly conducted with the genuinely non-defensive quality of the examined life, produces the specific, settled, completely genuine conviction that is its own authority, that does not need the external confirmation to be complete. Epictetus built his teaching around this specific, central, completely transformative principle. The freedom, the genuine, complete, genuinely liberating freedom that the Stoic philosophical life makes available is the freedom of the person who has relocated the authority for their choices from outside to inside, from the external world's response to the internal world's examination, from the need for the other person's confirmation to the settled conviction of the examined self.
The genuine walkaway is the specific, practical, daily applicable expression of this freedom. And building the inner authority, the specific, genuine, completely real conviction that the examined assessment is sufficient, is the specific daily practice through which this freedom becomes available in the moments when the walkaway is genuinely called for. Build the inner authority. Through the daily practice of acting from the examined values rather than from the external confirmation, through the daily practice of making the decisions that the genuine examination recommends without waiting for the external world's endorsement, through the daily specific, completely real practice of trusting the examined self as the primary authority for the choices that constitute the actual life. Because the inner authority, built daily in the ordinary decisions, is the inner authority that is available in the extraordinary ones, the moments when the genuine walkaway requires the specific, settled, completely genuine quality of someone who does not need the audience's verdict to know that the decision is right. The fourth pillar is the practice of the clean departure, the specific, Stoic-grounded, genuinely powerful quality of leaving in the way that causes the least unnecessary harm to everyone involved, including the situation being left. The clean departure is not the departure that pretends the situation was not what it was. It does not require the dishonest reframing of the genuine difficulty as something less than what it was. It does not require the performed gratitude for the experience of the wrong situation as though the wrongness was not real. It does not require the specific, social, comfortable narrative of mutual satisfaction that the socially managed departure consistently produces. The clean departure is the departure that is as honest as the specific situation allows and as kind as the genuine honesty permits. That acknowledges what was genuinely good about the situation where genuine goods existed. That acknowledges what was genuinely difficult where genuine difficulty existed. And that departs from both with the specific, complete, genuinely unencumbered quality of the person who has examined the situation honestly and is acting on the honest examination rather than on the reactive emotion or the socially managed impression. The cleanliness of the departure is the cleanliness of the conscience, not the clean hands of the person who has managed the departure to produce the best available impression. Those hands may not be as clean as the impression suggests. The clean conscience of the person who has acted from the examined values rather than from the reactive impulse, who has been as honest as the situation allowed, who has been as kind as the genuine honesty permitted, who has caused as little unnecessary harm as the departure that was genuinely necessary could produce. Marcus Aurelius practiced this quality in the governance decisions that required the departure from the arrangement or the policy or the position that was no longer serving the genuine purpose. The clean departure from the wrong arrangement was not the dramatically announced, publicly justified, impression-managed withdrawal from the wrong commitment. It was the specific, honest, genuinely examined, completely unhurried process of acknowledging the reality and acting on the reality in the way that caused the least unnecessary harm, while still honoring the genuine assessment. Practice the clean departure in the specific, daily, completely real situations where the genuine examination has produced the genuine conviction that the walkaway is genuinely required. And let the cleanliness of the departure, the honesty, the kindness, the genuine minimization of unnecessary harm be the specific expression of the genuine respect for everyone involved, including the self. The fifth pillar is the practice of releasing the outcome, the complete, Stoic-grounded, genuinely liberating practice of walking away without the attachment to what the walkaway produces in the person or the situation being walked away from. The walkaway that is attached to its outcome is not yet the genuine walkaway. It is the walkaway that is still, in the deepest, most honest sense, in the relationship, organized around what the relationship's next chapter will look like in response to the departure, hoping that the departure produces the recognition, or the changed behavior, or the specific acknowledgement that the leaving was warranted, or the regret that the staying would have prevented the other person from feeling. These attachments are understandable. They are the natural expressions of the genuine care that was invested in the relationship or the situation being left. And the genuine care does not simply stop at the moment of the departure. It continues, often for a significant time, in the form of the genuine interest in what the departure produces. but the walk-away that releases the outcome, that genuinely, completely, without the managed pretense of indifference that is itself a form of attachment, releases the need for the departure to produce any specific outcome in the person or the situation being departed from, is the walk-away that is most genuinely free, because it requires nothing from the external world for its completeness. It is complete in the decision, in the action, in the genuine alignment between the examined values and the behavior,
not in what the other person does with the departure. Epictetus described this as the complete expression of the freedom that the Stoic philosophical life makes available. The person who walks away and genuinely needs nothing from the walk away, not the other person's regret, not the other person's understanding, not the confirmation from any external source that the departure was correct, is the most genuinely free person available, because their freedom does not depend on the external world's response to their choice. It is complete in the choice itself. Release the outcome, not as the cold, performed, carefully managed indifference to what happens next, as the genuine, warm, completely real release of the need for the external world's response to confirm that the internally examined decision was correct. Because the internally examined decision, genuinely arrived at, is its own confirmation. The sixth pillar is the practice of what the Stoics called the reserve clause applied to the decision to walk away. The specific, completely honest, Stoic grounded quality of walking away with the specific, examined openness to the possibility that the genuine circumstances might genuinely change in ways that the genuine examination would genuinely reassess. The walk away is not always permanent. The Stoic understanding of the walk away is not the absolute, categorical, irreversible departure from everything that has caused difficulty. It is the genuine, examined, completely honest departure from the specific situation in the specific form that the specific assessment has found not worth the continuing engagement. And the reserve clause acknowledges that the situation, genuinely changed, might be genuinely different from the situation that the examination assessed. This is not the hope that the walkaway will produce the change that makes the staying possible. That is the attachment to the outcome that the fifth pillar has already addressed. This is the specific, genuine, completely honest acknowledgement that the decision was made from the best currently available assessment of the current situation, and that genuinely different situations genuinely warrant genuinely different assessments. The reserve clause prevents the walkaway from becoming the rigid, absolute, ideologically maintained departure that is organized around the position rather than the genuine examination. The position can become as much a prison as the wrong situation it was responding to, if the position requires the permanent, unyielding maintenance of the departure regardless of what the genuine changed circumstances would genuinely warrant. The genuine walkaway holds the departure with the specific, settled, genuinely non-defensive quality of the person who has made the examined decision and who is genuinely open to the examined reassessment if the genuine circumstances genuinely change in the ways that it would warrant it. Walk away completely, and hold the walkaway with the genuine openness of the person who is acting from the examined values rather than from the maintained position. The seventh pillar is the practice of the walk away from the wrong thinking, the specific, daily, completely important application of the walk-away discipline to the internal patterns of thought and interpretation that are producing damage while being maintained from habit rather than from genuine examination. The walk-away is not only about external situations. It is also, and in the most practically significant dimension of the Stoic tradition, primarily, about the specific, internal, completely invisible patterns of thinking and interpreting that constitute the genuine territory of the examined life. The rumination that is consuming the mental resource without producing anything that the consumption is worth. The resentment that is maintaining the connection to the person or the situation that the person believes they have already left. The catastrophizing that is producing the experience of the feared outcome before the feared outcome has arrived.
The self-criticism that is applying a standard of assessment to the self that the genuine self-respect does not endorse. All of these, the specific, internal, completely real patterns of thinking that the Stoic examination consistently identifies as genuinely not worth the cost of maintaining, deserve the same genuine, quiet, completely Stoic walk away that the external situations deserve. The specific, examined, honestly assessed decision that this pattern of thinking is not serving the genuine values and is therefore not going to be maintained. The quiet departure from the pattern, not the dramatic, declared, performed departure that is a different form of the same pattern, but the genuine, completely unhurried, daily practiced quality of the person who notices the pattern arising and chooses, specifically and quietly, not to follow it. Marcus Aurelius did this every day in the private journals. He would notice the specific internal pattern arising, the impatience, the resentment, the specific self-damaging interpretation of the situation, and he would, with the specific, quiet, completely non-dramatic quality that the meditations consistently embody, simply decline to follow it. Not suppress it, not fight it. Walk away from it, quietly. Back to the genuine examination, back to the genuine values, back to the specific, examined, completely real understanding of what was actually happening and what the genuine response genuinely required. Practice the internal walkaway, daily, in the specific, recurring, completely real patterns of thinking that the honest examination has identified as genuinely not serving the genuine values, and discover that the internal walkaway, practiced daily, in the ordinary moments, with the specific, quiet, completely non-dramatic quality of the genuine examined life, produces something in the interior that the dramatic, announced, publicly performed departure from the external situations cannot produce. The specific, genuine, completely real freedom of the person who is not being governed by the habitual patterns that the unexamined life consistently maintains. The eighth pillar is the practice of what happens after the genuine walkaway. The specific, Stoic-grounded, completely essential practice of filling the space that the genuine departure creates with the genuine engagement that the genuine departure has made room for. The genuine walkaway creates space.
And the space, the specific, genuine, completely real space that the departure from the wrong situation creates in the actual life, is the most valuable thing that the walkaway produces, not the freedom from the wrong situation, the freedom for the right one. Most people who walk away from the wrong situation carry the wrong situation with them into the space that the departure creates. Not physically, in the specific mental and emotional quality of the ongoing engagement with the departed situation that the unprocessed departure consistently produces. The replaying, the rehearsing of what should have been said and was not said, and what was said and should not have been said. The monitoring of what the departed situation is producing without them. The specific, consuming, genuinely costly maintenance of the connection to the wrong situation in the interior even after the exterior departure has occurred. The genuine departure fills the space with what the departure was for. Not immediately. The processing of the significant departure takes the time that significant processing takes, and the Stoic understanding of the walkaway is never the performed, immediate, completely managed replacement of the departed thing with the thing that was waiting, but genuinely, with the specific, examined, completely real engagement with the genuine life that the genuine examination has identified as most worth the genuine engagement, the work that was waiting, the relationship that was not receiving the attention that the wrong situation was consuming, the development that was not happening because the energy that the wrong situation was consuming was not available for it, the genuine life, the specific, genuine, completely real life that the examined values have identified as most worth living, that the wrong situation was consistently, daily, invisibly preventing from being fully lived. Fill the space with the genuine life.
not as the distraction from the processing that the genuine departure requires, as the specific, genuine, completely real expression of the genuine values that the genuine departure has made possible. Because the genuine departure that is followed by the genuine engagement with the genuine life is the complete walkaway. The walkaway that produces what the genuine values have been pointing toward all along. The ninth pillar is the practice of the walkaway from the good enough. The specific, Stoic-grounded, genuinely demanding discipline of departing from the situations that are not wrong but are not right, not damaging but not serving, not the obvious wrong place but not the genuine right one. This is the most difficult walkaway. The walkaway from the obviously wrong situation has the emotional fuel of the genuine difficulty that makes the departure feel both necessary and justified. The walkaway from the good enough has neither. The good enough situation is not producing the obvious damage that would motivate the reactive departure. It is producing the specific, low-grade, never quite resolved quality of the almost right, the situation that meets the basic requirements but does not serve the genuine potential, that is comfortable enough not to require the immediate departure but not fulfilling enough to constitute the genuine life.
The walk away from the good enough is the most philosophically demanding of all the walkaways, because it requires the specific, courageous, genuinely examined conviction that the genuine life, the specific, completely real life that the genuine examination has identified as most worth living, is actually worth the genuine cost of departing from the good enough that is currently comfortable. That the genuine potential is actually worth the genuine risk of leaving the situation that is not wrong enough to require leaving, but not right enough to deserve staying. Trebatius was in the good enough situation, not the obviously wrong situation. That would have been simpler. The specific, low-grade, comfortable, genuinely dissatisfying quality of the situation that had produced the comfortable career and the quiet misery and the 23 years of staying because the staying was comfortable, and the leaving would be complicated, and the risk of the leaving might produce something worse than the good enough that was already established. And the walk away from the good enough was the specific, courageous, philosophically demanding action that the examined life eventually required of him, not the reactive departure from the obvious wrong, the examined departure from the comfortable inadequate. The walk-away that the genuine life required from the situation that the genuine life could not fully inhabit. Practice the walk-away from the good enough, in the honest, genuinely courageous, completely non-dramatic quality of the person who has examined what the genuine life requires, and who has found, in the honest examination, that the current good enough is not the genuine life, but the comfortable prevention of it. The 10th pillar is the practice of walking away without explanation, the specific, Stoic-grounded, genuinely powerful quality of the departure that is complete in itself and does not require the explanation to others or the justification to the self that the departure was warranted. The explanation-seeking walk-away is the walk-away that has not yet fully trusted the genuine examination. It is seeking, in the explanation, the external confirmation that the examination was correct, the other person's understanding that makes the departure feel finally justified, rather than simply felt as correct by the person departing. The walk-away without explanation, not the silent, aggressive, specifically constructed withholding of the explanation that would be communicated as a statement, is the specific, quiet, completely non-dramatic quality of the departure that is organized around the genuine examination rather than around the other person's response to the departure. It is not always possible. There are genuine situations that genuinely require genuine explanation. The professional departure that has genuine legal or organizational requirements. The relational departure that has genuine commitments that require genuine acknowledgement.
The situation that has genuine shared responsibilities that require genuine communication about the departure. The Stoic understanding of the walk away without explanation is not the absolute, categorical refusal of any communication about the departure. It is the specific, examined, genuinely honest quality of the departure that is primarily organized around the genuine decision rather than around the management of the external impression of the decision. The explanation, when given, is honest and brief,
not the constructed justification designed to produce the specific desired response in the person receiving it. The honest, specific, minimally necessary communication that the genuine situation genuinely requires, and no more. The rest, the extensive justification, the detailed explanation of all the reasons, the specific, carefully constructed account of everything that led to the departure and everything that the departure is expected to produce, this is the explanation that is seeking the external confirmation. And the genuine walk away does not need the external confirmation. The genuine examination is the confirmation. Walk away without explanation. In the specific, warm, genuinely non-dramatic quality of the person who has examined the situation honestly and has acted on the honest examination, and who needs nothing from the external world's response to the action for the action to be complete. The 11th pillar is the practice of the walk away as self-respect. The complete, Stoic-grounded, genuinely foundational understanding that the genuine walk away from what is genuinely not worth the continuing engagement is the most complete and the most powerful expression of the genuine self-respect available. Self-respect is demonstrated not primarily in the declaration, not in the statement of what you believe about your own worth or what you will and will not accept. Self-respect is demonstrated in the action. In the specific, daily, completely real choices that reflect the genuine examination of what is and is not worth the continuing engagement of the genuine self. The person who has decided that they will not accept the treatment that the situation is providing and who continues to accept it while making that declaration has not, in the most honest assessment, demonstrated the genuine self-respect. They have demonstrated the genuine intention to have self-respect at some future point, when the circumstances make the self-respect less costly. The self-respect that is conditional on the circumstances being favorable is not quite self-respect yet. The genuine self-respect is demonstrated in the walk away. In the specific, completely real, genuinely enacted departure from what the genuine examination has identified as genuinely not worth the continuing engagement of the genuine self. The person who has decided that they will not accept the treatment that the situation is providing and who continues to accept it while making that declaration has not, in the most honest assessment, demonstrated the genuine self-respect. They have demonstrated the genuine intention to have self-respect at some future point, when the circumstances make the self-respect less costly. The self-respect that is conditional on the circumstances being favorable is not quite self-respect yet. The genuine self-respect is demonstrated in the walk away. In the specific, completely real, genuinely enacted departure from what the genuine examination has identified as genuinely not worth the continuing engagement of the genuine self. The person who has decided that they will not accept the treatment that the situation is providing and who continues to accept it while making that declaration has not, in the most honest assessment, demonstrated the genuine self-respect. They have demonstrated the genuine intention to have self-respect at some future point, when the circumstances make the self-respect less costly. The self-respect that is conditional on the circumstances being favorable is not quite self-respect yet. The genuine self-respect is demonstrated in the walk away. In the specific, completely real, genuinely enacted departure from what the genuine examination has identified as genuinely not worth the continuing engagement of the genuine self. Not because the departure is dramatic or impressive or publicly visible, because the departure is the genuine expression of the genuine values, the specific, embodied, completely real alignment between what the genuine examination has identified as worth the genuine engagement and what the genuine behavior is actually engaging. Trebatius demonstrated genuine self-respect in the quiet departure, not the declaration that the situation was beneath him,
That would have been the performance of self-respect, the departure itself. The specific, quiet, completely real action that expressed the genuine conviction that the genuine life was worth the specific, genuine, completely real cost of departing from the comfortable situation that was preventing it.
Walk away as the expression of genuine self-respect in the specific, quiet, completely real quality of the person who has examined what is genuinely worth the genuine engagement, and who acts on the genuine examination rather than on the comfortable continuation of the wrong engagement. The 12th pillar is the practice of the walk away as the beginning, the complete, Stoic-grounded, genuinely transformative understanding that the genuine walk away from the wrong thing is not primarily an ending, but a beginning. Not primarily defined by what is being left, but by what the leaving makes possible. Every genuine walk away creates the specific space in which something genuinely new becomes possible, not guaranteed. The space does not automatically produce the better thing. The better thing requires the specific, genuine, completely real engagement with the genuine life that the space makes possible. But the space is the prerequisite, and the space does not exist while the wrong engagement is occupying it. This is why the Stoic walk-away is fundamentally a practice of hope rather than a practice of defeat. Not the comfortable, wishful, undiscriminating hope that anything would be better than what is being left. The specific, examined, completely genuine hope that the honest assessment of the genuine values has produced, the specific, clear-eyed, genuinely grounded understanding of what the genuine life actually requires, and the genuine conviction that the genuine life is actually available in the space that the genuine departure creates. Trebatius did not experience the departure as the ending. He experienced it as the beginning, not immediately. The immediate experience of the significant departure is almost always the specific, complex, genuinely difficult quality of the transition between the familiar wrong and the unfamiliar right. But genuinely, the specific, honest, completely real quality of the beginning that the genuine walk away had made available. And the beginning, the specific, genuine, completely real engagement with the genuine life in the space that the genuine departure had created, was the thing that the 23 years in the wrong situation had been consistently, daily, invisibly preventing. Walk away as the beginning, with the specific, genuine, completely real understanding that the genuine departure is the specific, genuinely necessary prerequisite for the genuine arrival at the place the genuine life has been heading toward all along. Not because the departure is the destination, because the departure makes the destination genuinely accessible. The 13th and final pillar is the complete integration, the daily, living, breathing, genuinely practiced expression of the walk-away discipline as the natural, organic, completely genuine quality of the person who has done the genuine work of the examined life. Because here is the deepest truth about walking away quietly that the Stoics arrived at through genuine practice, and that Trebatia demonstrated through a genuinely examined life, and that every person who has genuinely built the genuine interior quality of the examined life has eventually confirmed. The walk-away that is genuinely quiet, the walk-away that happens without the announcement, without the explanation, without the drama, without the need for the audience's acknowledgement that it was happening or warranted or impressive, is the walk-away that is most genuinely free.
And the most genuinely free walk-away is the walk-away that is most genuinely powerful. Not powerful in the sense of producing the dramatic impact in the person or the situation being walked away from. Powerful in the most Stoic, most completely genuine, most philosophically foundational sense of the word, the specific expression of the genuine freedom of the genuinely examined self, acting from the genuine examination without the need for anything from the external world to make the acting complete. Trebatius walked away, quietly, without the declaration, without the audience, without the explanation that would have sought the confirmation, without the drama that would have kept him in the room he was leaving long enough for the leaving to say what the leaving did not need to say. He simply left. In the specific, settled, completely unencumbered quality of the person who had examined the situation, had found it inconsistent with the genuine values, and had acted on the genuine examination. And in the leaving, in the specific, quiet, completely genuine leaving that was the natural expression of the examined life, everything changed. Not because the leaving was dramatic, because the leaving was genuine. Walk away quietly, when the genuine examination genuinely requires it, in the specific, settled, completely unencumbered quality of the person who does not need the audience or the explanation or the drama to make the leaving complete. The genuine examination is the authority. The genuine decision is the completion, and the quiet walking away, completely, without the performance, is the most powerful thing available.
Subscribe to the Stoic Mindset right now, because this channel is where the complete, honest, philosophically grounded, practically applicable discipline of the genuine walkaway, the quiet departure from what is genuinely not worth the continuing engagement, made from the genuine examination rather than from the reactive impulse, expressed without the drama or the explanation or the need for the external world's confirmation that the departure was warranted, is developed week after week with the full depth and the full honesty and the full practical weight that the Stoic tradition always brought to the most important available questions about what the genuine life requires and how the genuine life is most completely and most powerfully lived. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification so that every new lesson reaches you the moment it is released. Every week on this channel, we go all the way into the ancient wisdom that produced Trebatius and Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus and the full extraordinary lineage of the Stoic examined life, people who walked away quietly from the things that the genuine examination had found genuinely not worth the continuing engagement, and who found, in the space that the genuine departure created, the genuine life that the wrong engagement had been consistently preventing. The people who find this channel and stay are the people who have understood what Trebatius understood in the 2 sentences of the letter he wrote to report the departure. I have done what I should have done years ago. I am now doing what I was always supposed to be doing. Subscribe right now. Share this with someone who is staying in the wrong room because the leaving seems more complicated than the staying. Come back for the next lesson, because what we are doing here together is exactly what the Stoic tradition was always building, the genuine interior quality from which the genuine walkaway, quiet, complete, genuinely free, is not the dramatic exception, but the natural expression of the examined life. Subscribe now.